Hi, I'm Galveston Mayor Joe Jaworski, and this is a continuation of my YouTube video campaign to let Galveston know about my 3R plan. Rebuild our population, rebuild our neighborhoods and infrastructure, and rebuild our economy in the wake of Hurricane Ike. Today I want to talk to you about rebuilding our neighborhoods and our infrastructure. I'm standing in a home, literally a stone's throw from City Hall, owned by one of our great citizens, Mr. De Los Santos, on Ball Street. And he is a successful applicant in the city's disaster recovery program. One of our best home builders, DSW Homes, is responsible for bringing this historic beauty back to life, up to code, in the next 90 to 100 days. And it's a beautiful thing to behold. As your mayor, I have very clearly stated my intent to protect the disaster recovery program, and that is what a leader does. Despite all the talk about housing and urban development and public housing, Galveston's recovery is a very comprehensive picture, and it involves a lot more private homes and a lot more public infrastructure than it would public homes. So let's get real, Galveston, and talk about what really matters. The rebuilding of our neighborhoods and the rebuilding of our infrastructure in those neighborhoods. This home, for example, which probably needed help before the storm, is going to not only get repaired, but it's going to be brought up to code. The city of Galveston has $100 million from round one of its disaster funds and $87 million from round two of its disaster funds to repair 2,000 privately owned homes and a number of rental properties that are used for people who don't own the homes. This is probably the most important work going on in Galveston right now. We're going to go look at some infrastructure projects to also show you about my plan to rebuild Galveston now. But for now, you know that Mr. De Los Santos is looking forward to getting back in his home, and so are hundreds of other Galveston residents who depend on our city to make wise, judicious choices in our recovery. And that is what I am all about. We're here at the corner of 29th and Harborside amid the cruise ship parking complex. And would you know that this is where water lift station number 1 is? Now, a lift station is what moves the sewage product to the wastewater treatment plant. And we're doing about 20 of these babies all through the city of Galveston. This happens to be number 1, and it's a $2 million project. Hurricane Ike destroyed water lift station number 1. We are using disaster funds to the tune of $100 million in round 1, and even more in round 2, for a total package of $250 million to rebuild the physical infrastructure of the city of Galveston. You'll see cement streets for the first time in a generation. You'll see an award-winning wastewater treatment plant that is going to never be crippled by whatever Mother Nature throws at us again. You'll remember how upset you were when the city administration wouldn't let us back after Hurricane Ike hit. That was because we couldn't flush our toilets and there was no potable water to drink, and UTMB was offline, all the things we take for granted. This disaster money is all about resiliency. It's about making sure Galveston can withstand Mother Nature's wrath. As your mayor, I'm going to do everything I can to protect the disaster recovery program. So once again, flushing toilets, it's very important to a citizenship and to a neighborhood that wants Galveston to be the best it can be. I'm here to protect that. Okay, so here we are at Holiday and Tuna out here in the Lindale Park neighborhood, and our good citizens here are undergoing some change. They're being very good-natured about it, but this is a very good project for our infrastructure. It's the Pelican Island Waterline is what we call it. It's a $4 to $5 million improvement that's going to create a loop, a redundant loop, so that we can get water from 2 sources. The line coming over the causeway, but if something happens to that in a storm or a maritime accident, you can also get water coming from I-45 onto Pelican Island and under the bay, and then coming onto Galveston Island out here by the Yacht Club. That's another resiliency program. Again, remember, after Hurricane Ike, we didn't have potable water. We're never going to be in that situation again, because disaster funds from the federal government to the tune of $600 million to the city of Galveston. 2/3 for housing, 1/3 for non-housing. It's a remarkable amount of money, folks. And as your mayor, my job is to protect our disaster recovery. My rebuilding plan involves respecting our neighborhoods and encouraging their growth by fixing the homes and by fixing the infrastructure which serves us. As your mayor, that's my promise.